no one can stop him, and I'll tell you why.
When the greatest basketball player of all time looks at a 21-year-old kid and says no one can stop him, the world stops and listens. This isn't just hyperbole from a legend, it's a cold, hard warning to the rest of the NBA. But the story of Victor Wembanyama isn't just a story about height, wingspan, or natural talent. It's a story of survival, obsession, and the birth of the NBA's most terrifying villain. For years, we've seen the next big thing come and go. We've seen the hype trains derail and the chosen ones falter under the weight of impossible expectation. But what we are witnessing with Victor Wembanyama is something fundamentally different. This is a story of how a near-career-ending diagnosis didn't break a young star, but instead forged him into an unstoppable force. A force that has legends comparing his mean streak to Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, and a force that is actively rewriting the history books of the NBA. Rewind to March 14, 2025. The NBA world held its collective breath as a news alert flashed across every screen. Victor Wembanyama, the most hyped prospect since LeBron James, was being sidelined for the remainder of the 2024-2025 season. The reason? A diagnosis that sends shivers down the spine of any basketball fan. Deep vein thrombosis, DVT, in his right shoulder. For those who know NBA history, DVT isn't just an injury, it's a potential career ender, especially for giants. It's the same condition that contributed to the premature decline of legends like Yao Ming and the legendary Bill Walton. A blood clot in a 7'4" frame is a biological ticking time bomb. The media began to write his basketball obituary. The narrative was set. Wemby was going to be another tragic what if, a beautiful anomaly cut short by the very physics of his own body. Critics like Charles Barkley, who had always expressed skepticism about Victor's durability, felt vindicated. The too fragile label was being slapped on him in every sports talk show from Bristol to Los Angeles. But while the world was debating his downfall, Victor was entering a level of focus that few humans can comprehend. He wasn't just rehabbing, he was reinventing himself. He didn't just undergo standard medical rehab. He didn't just sit on a couch and wait for the blood thinners to work. Instead, Victor and his team utilized NASA-level human performance protocols. He engaged in specialized, grueling exercises designed not just to heal his shoulder, but to rebuild his entire vascular and muscular system. He worked on underwater treadmills to reduce impact while maintaining cardiovascular intensity. He spent months in a hyperbaric chamber to accelerate cellular repair and ensure that his body was more resilient than ever before. By the time he was cleared to return in July 2025, he wasn't just healthy, he was transformed. He had spent his time away from the court studying the game with a level of detachment that made him more dangerous. He saw the cracks in the NBA's armor, and he was ready to exploit them. He realized that the league was soft, and he was the hard truth it wasn't ready to face. The return from the DVT scare marked a distinct, almost chilling shift in Victor Wembanyama's personality. The smiling, polite rookie who seemed happy just to be in the league was gone. In his place stood a cold, calculating competitor who seemed to take every defensive assignment, every missed shot, and every critic's word personally. This was the official beginning of his villain era. Victor stopped trying to fit into the modern NBA's friendly culture. He stopped the post-game daps and the jersey swaps with opponents who, just months earlier, were writing him off. He started playing with a chip on his shoulder the size of a mountain. He wasn't just trying to win games anymore, he was trying to break the will of his opponents. He wanted them to feel his presence in every facet of the game. This newfound mental toughness and mean streak didn't go unnoticed. The veterans who had to coach against him began to see a familiar, terrifying fire in his eyes, a fire that they hadn't seen since the days of the Black Mamba and his airness. It was a refusal to settle for anything less than total dominance.
Of guard him than the longer guys. He's just so talented. And he's another guy that has the Kobe Michael mean streak.
Right.
And I love that about him as well.
The Kobe Michael mean streak. In the world of basketball, there is no higher compliment. It means you don't just want to win, you want to dominate. You want your opponent to go home and question would they even play the game. Victor had unlocked the psychological weapon that turns great players into immortal legends. He began to hunt on the court, using his 8-foot wingspan not just to block shots, but to demoralize entire offenses. He was no longer just a player. He was a psychological hurdle that teams had to overcome. To understand how Victor became so dominant, you have to look at his training methods, which are as unique as his physique. He doesn't just shoot free throws and run suicides in a suburban gym. His approach to mastering his 7'4" frame is entirely unconventional, bordering on the mystical. He is a student of the game, but also a student of the human body and mind. In May 2026, reports surfaced detailing Victor's time spent at the Shaolin Temple in China's Henan province. Under the guidance of Master Yan, a 34th generation Shaolin warrior monk, Victor underwent a 10-day intensive training program that would break most professional athletes. He wasn't there for a photo op. He was there to learn the ancient art of Qigong and Kung Fu. He wanted to understand how to move a massive body with the efficiency of a smaller one. Master Yan'an designed a customized program for Victor, focusing on controlling his center of gravity. For a man of his height, balance is the ultimate challenge. By practicing Kung Fu, Victor learned to move his massive body with the grace, precision, and explosive power of a point guard. He learned to use his length not as a burden, but as a lever. He became the first NBA player to ever receive an official Shaolin martial arts rank, earning the Shaolin First Duan. This training gave him a level of body control that the NBA had never seen in a man his size, but the training didn't stop with his body. Victor is a firm believer that the mind is the ultimate muscle. He is known to host lightning chess tournaments immediately following high-intensity interval training. He would pedal on an underwater treadmill until his heart rate was at its limit, and then immediately sit down to play a grandmaster level chess game. Why? Because he wanted to train his brain to make split-second, strategic decisions while his body was screaming for oxygen. He wanted to be the most intelligent player on the court, even when he was at his most exhausted. This is the kind of preparation that creates a player who is always 3 steps ahead of the defense. When the game is on the line in the 4th quarter and everyone else is exhausted, Victor R's mind is as sharp as a razor. He isn't just reacting to the game, he is dictating it.
I don't know, I've never seen anything like him, 7'4", 7'5", I don't know how tall he is.
When a 2-time MVP and one of the most physically dominant players in NBA history says he's never seen anything like him, you know you're witnessing a biological anomaly. Giannis, a physical freak in his own right, looked at Victor and saw the evolution of the species. He saw a player who combined the size of a center with the skills of a wing and the mind of a grandmaster. This was the moment the rest of the league realized that the old rules no longer applied. The combination of Victor's physical gifts, his Shaolin-inspired body control, and his Kobe mean streak resulted in a statistical explosion that the NBA simply wasn't prepared for. He didn't just play well, he began to systematically dismantle the record books, line by line. He was doing things that were previously thought to be impossible for a player of his stature. In February 2024, Victor did something that only a handful of legends had ever accomplished. He recorded a 5x5 game, at least 5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, and 5 blocks in just his first season. He was the youngest player to ever do it, but he didn't stop there. He began to record these impossible stat lines with a frequency that made them look routine. He was a defensive anchor and an offensive engine all at once. By the 2025-26 season, Victor had joined Michael Jordan as the only player in NBA history to reach specific astronomical milestones in points, assists, and blocks within their first 3 seasons. He wasn't just a rim protector. He was a primary playmaker. He wasn't just a dunker. He was a sniper from the logo. He was redefining what it meant to be a big man in the modern NBA. He was doing things that big men simply aren't supposed to do. He would block a shot at one end, bring the ball up the court himself, go between his legs, and pull up for a transition 3. It looked like a video game glitch brought to life. The league's defensive schemes, built to stop traditional centers or wings, were completely useless against him.
I saw one game, he threw between legs, threw behind his back, stepped back, and shot the 3, and it looked good, and it went in. He's a whole different breed.
A whole different breed. Shaq, the man who broke backboards and dominated the paint like a force of nature, recognized that Victor was redefining the very concept of a basketball player. He wasn't just a center, he was a positionless weapon. He was the alien that LeBron James had predicted he would be. And as the records continued to fall, the fear in the league continued to grow. Every night was a potential history-making performance. As Victor Wembanyama continues his terrifying ascent, the conversation in the barbershops and the boardrooms has shifted. It's no longer about whether he will be an all-star or an MVP. The conversation is now about his place in the pantheon of the greatest of all time. And this is where the villain narrative takes its most interesting turn. He is challenging the very foundation of how modern legacies are built. For the last 15 years, the NBA has been defined by the suit team era. It was an era initiated by LeBron James's move to Miami, where stars would join forces to secure their championships. While effective, it created a culture where the individual alpha was often diluted, and success was often seen as a product of collective star power rather than individual will. Victor Wembanyama, however, seems determined to build his legacy the old-fashioned way. He is the undisputed alpha of the San Antonio Spurs. He isn't looking for a big 3. He isn't recruiting other superstars in the offseason. He is driving his team forward through sheer individual brilliance and a refusal to lose. He is the sun that the entire Spurs galaxy orbits around. He wants to win on his own terms with his own team. This solo-driven success is drawing direct comparisons to Michael Jordan's early years in Chicago. Like Jordan, Victor is the man who carries the weight of the franchise on his 7'4" shoulders. He has the backing of the GOAT himself, and he has the fear of every other player in the league. He is the man who is ending the super team era by proving that one transcendent talent, armed with the right mentality, is enough to conquer the world. He is a throwback to an era of pure, unadulterated competition. The villain era is in full swing, and there is no superhero in sight who can stop him. The NBA throne is currently vacant, with the legends of the past decade entering the twilight of their careers, and Victor Wembanyama isn't just going to sit on that throne. He's going to seize it with a cold, unyielding grip. He has the physical tools that shouldn't exist in a single human being. He has the training that borders on the supernatural, combining ancient wisdom with modern science. And he has the mean streak that turns a talented player into a historical figure. The league should be terrified because right now, Victor is doing this while he is still a young man, still learning, and still growing. Imagine what happens when he reaches his physical prime. Imagine what happens when he has a decade of experience to go along with his 8-foot wingspan.
25 years from now, the GOAT conversation is going to go with starting with these three names: LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Victor Wembanyama.
The prediction is out there, the blueprint is set. Victor Wembanyama is no longer just a prospect. He is a reality check for the entire sport of basketball. He is the man who is forcing us to redefine what is possible on a basketball court. He is the architect of a new era, one defined by dominance, discipline, and a refusal to be anything less than the greatest. The era of the friendly NBA is over. The era of the soft superstar is dead. The villain has arrived, and his name is Victor Wembanyama. And as he continues to destroy whatever is in front of him, the rest of the league can only watch, wait, and hope that they aren't his next victim. The takeover is here, and it is absolute.